Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 6 of my Factorio post-novice guide. So in the last episode, we continued to set up some items that we kind of just need to get through on Vulcanus. We created our foundries and started the process to get us some of the big mining drills, so we have that moving along. So in this episode, we have a few things that I would like to try to do. I know I said that we were going to continue on with, we were going to try to mine out some tungsten ore, which I still think we might be able to get to, and try to create some orange science. Again, maybe. I'm going to try to get to those, but we have kind of a growing problem, and that is this whole setup. So, as you can see, we have set up a logistics group to kind of bring in some items for us, and we kind of don't want to have this. So the reason why is because you can see, for instance, green circuits. We've requested in 2000. We have none in the way and none in logistics storage. That's because there are none here. But as you can see, we do have some here, and oh boy, this is getting kind of clogged up. So we're definitely going to want to change this at some point. So I'm going to go through, like, this is probably going to be one of the most complicated things we've ever done. And I've attempted to introduce combinators over time to get us basically to this point, because this is one of the most complicated things that I do, and something that we will deal with. So we don't want to just have a blanket request. We want to request in items that we need. But there's going to be a couple of problems with that. So for starters, one problem that we're going to have is the bots. So I think the first time that I played through Fulgora, I had a very heavy bot focused network, and I started realizing that there was a problem. So I'm going to replicate the problem and explain part of the solution. Actually, before I do that, let's get a constant combinator down, because this is going to be, our constant combinator is going to be what we create a group with to kind of dictate what we want on this planet. So for instance, we're going to make a Vulcanus supplies group. So similar to what we have going on here, we just kind of want to make a group of items that we want to bring in. Before I even start that, though, we are going to kind of explain the process, some of the problems. I'm going to replicate the problems and kind of show the solution. So we are only using logistics storage. So we can actually check the logistics network by hitting L and see everything that is contained within our logistics network. This does not include what is on our person, even though we are kind of technically part of the logistics network. Yeah, so we want to be able to bring in some items, but not go over more than we want. So as you can see, we have 3.8K red circuits. That means, like, we don't want any more red circuits, but we want the ability to get more. So the easiest way to kind of send to the network through, like, the circuits, like what we contain in all of these, isn't to connect every single one of these together. It's actually to use a roboport. So I'm going to use the roboport and connect it to this power tower, just so you can kind of see. So over on the right hand side, we now have a visual of everything that we have, and that signal is carried through the roboport, and the network that connects all of the roboports together. So what we want is a similar setup to what we did with the trains. So if you remember, we had an arithmetic combinator, and we brought that signal in, brought a signal in that was connecting all of our chests together. In this case, it's going to be the roboport. So now we have a list of everything that we are well, everything that's in our network. So we're going to take each of these and similarly multiply it by -1. Output each. So now that is going to give us a negative output, and mixed with a positive input for our constant combinator, that will give us an amount that we want to bring in. So I tried explaining all this to my wife, and it was difficult for me to explain it to her too. So hopefully I can show it in a way that is pretty simple. So I'm going to use something small. So let's say the foundry. Let's say that I wanted to, again, let's assume that we're on a different planet. We're not making foundries here. We want to bring in foundries. So how many do I want to bring in? Let's say I want to bring in 10. So now we have these inputs together. Oh, no, not that one. The decider combinator is what is going to kind of tell us that we need to bring stuff in. So the output of this one, which is a negative, goes into the decider combinator, and then the desired amount also goes into the decider combinator. So when we look at the decider combinator, we can see that now we have a +7 for the foundry, and we can say if each is greater than 0, output each. So now we have an output of 7, and we can, for instance, use that to connect to our cargo landing pad and have set requests, and that will allow us to bring in 7. So that is the bare basics of how we're doing this. There are some problems though. One problem, and I'm about to replicate that, is if we have an active bot network and the bots are constantly grabbing things, the way that they affect what is in the network is very odd. So I'm going to replicate that. I'm going to have a requester chest here and just a regular storage chest. This requester chest is going to be bringing in some calcite. We have a single calcite in storage, and that is the perfect amount to indicate what I want to have shown here. So if I scroll over this, you can see that in the bottom, it occasionally shows a logistics storage of -3. So what is going on here? If I have one single item, when the bot goes to collect that item during its travel, it can pick up 4 items. So while it's in travel, it just removes those 4 items from inventory or from logistics storage on the network, and doesn't update until it actually grabs the item. So in this case, there's one single item that it's chasing, but it's giving a, hey, I'm going to go pick up 4 to the network, which gives us a -3. So when it is in travel, you can see here, if I scroll over, you can see that there's a -3 that pops up on the substation as the bot is traveling. So we kind of need a way to counter that, because as you can see, whenever I scroll over here, once that item goes into negative, because we are multiplying everything times -1, that will give us a positive value, and almost like a false positive for requesting in things. So if we are constantly churning through something that we're requesting in, and it is very, very low, we will have a situation where a ship might now try to provide us with calcite, and we don't want that. So how do we prevent that from happening? Well, the easiest way is to take a second combinator, also connect it to the roboport network. And when you do something like this, you should know that anything that is processed through a combinator takes up 1 tick. So in an ideal world, however many steps it takes you to get from one section to another, if you had a situation like this where you needed to kind of have something in parallel with it, it needs to be the same number of steps. In this case, it's going to be really easy because we only have a single step to get to the same decider combinator. So all we're going to do is we're going to negate this input. We have the -3 going into this this combinator and this combinator. This one is turning it into a negative, so this one needs to allow it to stay negative, but have this one step process to get here. So all we're going to do is we're going to take each. If each is, oh no, sorry, wow. Yeah, my bad. I need a decider combinator for this step. Scratch most of what I'm just kidding. All of it still's fine. Yeah, so if each is less than 0, so you can see that we have that pop up every now and then, output each. So now you can see that every now and then we will have a -3 go through. So that is going to pop, or that is going to match this +3. And when these are now connected to the same input, it is canceled out. And if you look in the bottom right, you can see that as the bot is, oh, sorry. Let's actually get rid of that and say use this one instead. So as the bot is traveling, we still only have a symbol of 7 foundries because that symbol is now negating itself. Similarly, if I were to just do say this one, you can see that the, or not. Okay, that was a bad example. Anyways, you kind of get the idea. Yeah, this should have a positive output. Whatever. Either way, that is how we're going to negate having these negatives show up, is we just kind of cancel out the signal. So that's kind of the easy part. And I'm going to cut these and bring them down, so I can kind of continue to show almost like an order of operations of what's going to happen here. So the final destination is the decider combinator deciding what we are going to be requesting in. So the way that I've had it before was basically just this. If we are missing something, give me enough to fulfill the desired amount that we have in the constant combinator. So if I want 10, just send me some to match the 10 that I need. With machines, that's pretty straightforward and pretty easy. With other things, for instance, that could be bad. So let's say that we have a machine that is using electronic circuits, and it is making an electronic circuit or it is needing another electronic circuit every 5 seconds. That means that every 5 seconds, when a green electronic circuit is removed from the logistics network, this will now add in one single electronic circuit to match, let's say, going from 1999 to 2K. Whatever is providing that material for us in the atmosphere or in orbit, let's say it was the wizard, is now sending one of these down every 5 seconds. And if we had a situation where we said, hey, how about you have a wait condition of inactivity for like 15 seconds. Well, this is going to go up to 5 seconds and then reset, and then go up to 5 seconds and then reset, and then go up. It could, in theory, stay up there for a very long time, sending one single green circuit down at a time. So I want to have a situation where, you know what, don't do anything. Like, I don't want you to send anything down unless you can send a lot of something down. So there's 2 ways to go about doing that. The first would be to say, okay, inside the decider combinator, I'm going to actually connect this with a green wire as well. So if on the red signal, something is greater than 0, in this case, okay, this is not a big deal. There we go. So if on the red signal, something is greater than 0, output the input count, but from the green wire. So now I have this one set up with the red wire for the math and a green wire to tell it what we want. So now, if we don't have 10, it's going to send us 10. So I have 20 of these. Oh, there. No. Let's turn off personal logistics because the bots are trying to bring me stuff. Yeah, so now I put 14 in. We no longer have a need. We have more than 10. We actually have 13 somewhere in here. So now that is fulfilled. Well, what if I don't want it to send, like, let's say we have a request for 2,000 and I don't want it to wait until I have 0 to send me another 2,000. What if I want it to send me something earlier than that? So let's say that I maybe wanted it to send me another 2,000 whenever I got down to like 1,000 or 500 or, you know, some percentage of my total amount. But once it got to that point, I wanted it to send in the full 2,000. So that's where we need to get a little creative. So I'm going to add in another arithmetic combinator. We're just going to remove that for now. Arithmetic. So what I can do is I can tell this, I want the new kind of, I guess, barrier for sending out the signal to be each divided by, let's say 4. So now this is going to make it output each. So now this is going to give me a value of 2. So whenever I get down to 2 or less than 2, it is then going to send me 10, or at least this is what we're aiming for. So now I can connect our threshold on the red wire to this decider combinator. And let's say that I took back, where are those foundries? There's 3. And there's 13. So now there should be none. -5. Wait, we have 5 somewhere. All right, let me just request all of it in. Oh, there's 3. There's still 3 somewhere. Wait, what? Oh, okay, really? Okay, so now it is sending out a signal of 2 because we have made it so that we have none of these. But I don't want it to request in 2. I want it to request in more. So I'm actually going to connect the green wire to this one and change it to what I just had so that it sends out a green wire. So what's going to happen now is if we have 2 or less, you know what, let's change this to 3. So like a third. So now it's going to be a 3 symbol. So if we have less than 3, which is going to be this output here, if we have less than 3 on the red signal, then I want you to output the input count of the green signal, which is going to be the desired amount. So now it's going to say that we want 10. If I hit Z, that put 1 back in. If I hit Z, that put 1 back in. And now at Z again, it should negate the signal. Oh, okay, again, with the, so 1, 2, and 3. Because the signal has now canceled out. But if I were to, I really should have gotten rid of all of this to not have to hunt through to find these foundries. There's one there. So now if I take one more out, so now there's 2 in the system, it will order in 10 more. Now, I really hope that wasn't very confusing, because that's obviously a lot of stuff, and I'm going to walk through it again. So we have connected our roboport to see what all is in the logistics network, to an arithmetic combinator to multiply everything that we have by -1 to make a negative that goes into our decider combinator. We have allowed anything that is less than 0, as in all the negatives, to also go through to cancel out what's going on with the potential issues with the bots. We have a desired amount in the constant combinator with an arithmetic combinator attached to the constant that is taking our signal and dividing it by, in this case, 3 to get like a third of, like a third being our threshold from the desired amount. So once our stock reaches a third of what we want, we now have the ability to ask for everything that we want. And that's how this is going to set up. That's how this is going to be set up. And I'm going to just kind of crunch all this together at least a little bit better. And every single planet is going to have something that looks exactly like this. Roboport with this combinator set up into a cargo landing pad. We're also not going to have all of this stuff in here. I have a ship that is being repaired at the moment. Nope, my ship, the Peon. We're actually just going to send it. And I can show you kind of what we have going on. So we're going to make a group, Vulcanus supplies, and this is where some of the really fun stuff comes in, because this group we can use as a shopping list for here. So I can add a section here, and I can use the Vulcanus supplies group. So anything that we do in that constant combinator group will be reflected in this supplies, no matter where the group list is. And that also includes our inventory. I can add Vulcanus supplies to us as well. So for instance, if I wanted to say, make sure we had 50 of the active provider chests, if you look at the constant combinator, that is now going to request in 50 active providers. And if I look at the Peon, 50 active provider chests here. So we want to keep some of the basic stuff that we need. So we want to have 3,000 of these until we get down to a third, which is going to be 1,000. And then once that happens, you're going to send me 3,000 of them. We did not. No. We don't want that group. It can stay, but we want this to be Vulcanus supplies. Oh, no. Sorry. He's not requesting it. This is requesting it. We want some inserters. Let's say that we want up to 100. Maybe 150 of these. We will eventually use a lot more of the bulk inserters, don't worry. Pipes and stuff I'm not worried about because we are soon going to have the ability to make a lot more of these. Big electric power poles for now, yes. Now, I do have a group made for collecting some of the stuff that we're going to be using, but... And actually, I probably could just use this one instead. Removing things like the cargo landing pad and bots. So bots is one of those examples where... If you remember from the military train videos, we don't want to add bots into a group like this. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, another thing is this doesn't have to be full stack sizes. So we can actually have this request be, for instance, 10 of each of the combinators. What will happen is the rocket capacity is 50. So if you request in 10, the rocket is going to send you 50. So it's perfectly fine if you don't have like the exact quantity. So we could do like, I don't know, 20 pumps. This guy's already on his way back to Novice. So let's call this Vulcanus supply. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to rename this. And there we go. So now this will request in anything that we don't have quantities for. We don't need those. And if, you know what, if we're missing something, we can always add in something later. You guys can stop this little trick over here. So we got active provider chests. Thank goodness. So now the bots are going to go through and organize all this stuff for us once they... Where are they? There they are. Yeah, so they're just going to take everything here and just jumble it all into here. Okay, so we didn't get to anything that I said we were going to get to in this episode. But that was kind of important, and I wanted to get it out of the way. Like, to be honest... Oh, I also said I was going to remove some demolishers off screen, and I definitely started doing that. We're in this little cubby here, and this is where we want to go, is down here. So we might end up having to do some weird funky train system to kind of get around over here. This is kind of clear-ish. Yeah, but we definitely need some cliff explosives. I don't think I'm going to destroy... I'm not going to kill any more demolishers off screen, but I did have a little bit of a mess up whenever I was doing that. I should have limited these. Every single bit of my tungsten ore got used for making tungsten carbide, and unfortunately we need tungsten ore to make tungsten plate. So look, oh, I wonder if I can... Do I have 6 of these? Maybe we can at least get the mining down quick. Oh, and something else that I didn't do that I should have was... we have not made a rocket yet. I would like to have at least one rocket. So that we can at least trickle out some things from Vulcanus. We're 30 minutes in. Maybe I should just make this a little bit longer of an episode so we can get through at least a lot of this stuff over here. So unfortunately, a lot of this tungsten ore is engulfed in lava, and if you look around the map, you can see that that is a common theme. I don't think I see any more. So unfortunately, you have to kind of wiggle in these big big mining drills in a way that is going to be not exactly the most friendly. So right now we're just kind of gonna cover, actually that'll probably be fine there. And then wherever is the most available here. Yeah, so we're gonna be missing out on a little bit, but that's okay. Ooh. Four left. Let me see if I can scramble out some more. Yeah, the bots are going to be our friends early on, but we are going to get set up in a way that we don't have to worry about them anymore. Okay, all right. I probably should have just added one of the chests and maybe limit that to a stack for now. Because that's going to be eating up electric engine units, which is fine. We have some more on the way. Yeah, I was thinking about grabbing a tank and bringing that up. So we did collect some uranium shells. I suppose that with the Combinator group, we can request in this row as well. That way we have what we need for a rocket. And you can see here, now this is a full list of everything that will actually be requested down. Because we apparently do not have enough quantities for most of this. I don't know why it didn't. Oh, because a certain amount of time had passed. Let's change this. We're going to have inactivity. And we're just going to do like, I don't know. 30 seconds is probably plenty. Check mark plus inactivity. This is not going to fully satisfy, so yeah. Getting the tungsten ore up here is going to be quite interesting as well. So we still need tungsten carbide. We still need tungsten plate, molten copper. So we can probably set up just something just bare basic. You know, again, we're going to rip it down once we relocate. But just something to get us some science packs so we can get some of the other things that we want from this planet. And then scale up after. Let's get some power. Actually, this was probably a bad idea. I tend to leave room for substations in between. Okay, now for the fun part of trying to see if we can wiggle that in through here somewhere. And don't forget, you cannot underground through lava, so this is literally just going to be some weird like belt weaving. All right, that's basically going to be, it's going to be good enough. So let's get it up to where we have some of the other stuff. Thankfully, we can underground cliffs. All right, I don't know exactly what we're going to end up with. The copper is going to come, let's just say something like this. Like this is so messy, but oh wait, no, I have it going through there. You know what? The tungsten carbide, whatever. I'm not worried about it. We'll just use the bots for now. Okay, so we've kind of really messily collected a lot of stuff. So let's see if before we take off, we can... I'm just going to put some foundries down to get us some tungsten carbide. Sorry, tungsten plate. How many is this going to make us? 0.6 per second. Like, we're not going to need too much at first. Oh, I just need to make one to unlock. Oh, this is so messy. Like, really? Okay. Okay, so now we can make metallurgic science. I thought we should be able to make this, yes. Okay, so this needs 0.8 per second. We're making 0.6 times 4. So 3 of these. And it produces 0.6 per second. That's actually, wow, that's actually not that bad. let's yeah, we're just gonna request in. Wait, I can do it from the backside. Request in the tungsten carbide. Get some power over here. Oh my gosh. So incredibly messy, but you know what? We have now started the process, right? We just need to get a rocket launched, or start the process of launching some of that into orbit. Okay, I'm glad we got this out of the way though, because this is, again, something that we're going to be using on every planet, and it is honestly one of the things that we've been building up to. Yes, roboport is detecting everything, converting into a negative. Negative mixes with a third of what we want. And then if the threshold goes below a third, then request in what we desire, which is this group. And yeah, we are going to be setting up this guy to be automated soon too. We will have similar parameters. Maybe minus the, nope, I need to take maybe this one out. Sure. Okay. So 42 minutes in. I know a lot of these early episodes have been sloppy, but we're getting into some of the more good organized stuff shortly. If you've been enjoying the content, well, you know what to do. Also, I recently changed the way that we deal with trains. Not a huge overhaul, just a slight change. So if you want to see what exactly we did, feel free to join the Discord. I made a Discord exclusive video on exactly all the different changes that we're making with trains and why. If you don't want to, you don't want to watch that video, and you want to continue to have trains set up the way that I have them set up, that is also fine. Like, the difference is that there's basically no difference. But I did determine that we were going to be using nuclear power on all the planets. So we will be exporting nuclear power to those. Anything that uses trains. Yeah. So in the next episode, I think I might still go clear out some of the demolishers in the area. Normally I like to show my work. You guys know that, or those of you that have been following my channel know that I like to show my work. However, there's a big difference between showing your work and placing down a blueprint and waiting for 5 minutes for a demolisher, or hunting down a demolisher. Like, I just don't feel like it's very good content. I also tend to like speed through certain things sometimes. If it's too boring, I'll just have like a 5 or 6 times multiplier on the video, and play some music and just kind of speed through the process so that I can show my work, which will probably be happening in either next episode or the episode after, because I'm going to have to start laying rails down, and I'm probably largely going to be manually doing that. Speaking of rails, we're going to need quite a few. Oh, not that many. Maybe some elevated rails as well. Oh, geez. Just kind of squeezing it in wherever it can fit. Trains. Both solids and liquids. Sure, 15 is fine. Okay, so that is going to be it for me for this episode. I will see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.